Welcome to NME ICT Sakshat e-Content project under Ministry of HRD Government of India. This project is of marketing management. The project is under NME ICT, that is National Mission on Education through Information and Communication Technology. Under this mission, a proper balance between content generation, research in critical areas relating to imparting of education, and connectivity for integrating our knowledge with the advancement in other countries is to be attempted. In order to bolster our knowledge resources to obtain and maintaining the competitive edge in the world, we require a system of identification and nurturing of talent and lifelong learning. Knowledge modules based on personalized needs of the learner would need to be delivered to him or her at the right time with the right content interactively to take care of his or her aspirations. With these objectives in mind, these videos are created for the portal Sakshat. We will learn basic marketing over here.
Hi, I am LL means learner. I am learner of marketing management. I'll learn marketing in master's class. The desire for learning marketing comes out of interest. This is very interesting topic. Marketing management is seen everywhere in the society. You see up or down, you see here and there, you can see brand names and logos and advertisements and people working in marketing area. I am very much interested in learning marketing. Let us learn marketing from Dr. J. Badiani. He is going to teach marketing management under Sakshat e-Content Development Project under National Mission on Education through Information and Communication Technology, that means N-M-E-I-C-T. Let us start learning.
Good morning to all. Today, we are going to learn control of marketing efforts.
My name is Hemant, Dr. Hemant Trivedi, Director, School of Petroleum Management, Pandit Dindayal Petroleum University, Gandhinagar. My topic of the day is controlling marketing efforts. Any running business, any existing business needs to continuously control the marketing efforts that they are making in order to achieve their targets, goals, objectives, whichever way you want to talk about it. Let us clarify to begin with itself that control here does not mean restricting or restraining. Controlling here would mean an assessment, a monitoring, and a corrective action wherever is necessary so that the planned goals are achieved over a period of time. Once again, we are not talking about restraining or restricting our business activities or business operations. We are talking about being able to monitor and measure the performance and wherever necessary to take corrective actions so that at the end of the day, we are able to achieve the set targets. There are 4 approaches to the control of marketing efforts. They being annual plan control, profitability control, efficiency control, and strategic control. The moment we start thinking in terms of annual plan control, what comes to our mind is, how are we going to set our annual goals? There are different ways in which different organizations approach the annual plans that they want to make. For example, those organizations which go for the management by objectives perspective, they would have a bottoms-up approach. Each and every individual business unit, maybe a salesman, will develop his own targets for the period and for the year. And when all these are added up, we get regional targets, and all the regional targets when added up, we get the company targets. This is the bottoms-up approach, which is normally understood under the framework of management by objectives. In smaller organizations, what happens normally is that there is this boss, there is this general manager or the senior person in management who has a broader idea of what this business is all about and where all is the market. And he decides that, okay, during this year, I want to achieve this much. And once having defined whatever he wants to achieve over a period of time in a given year or so, he then tells his subordinates that, okay, this is what we plan to do for the year, and now let's work out how each one of the things are going to happen. So these are two broad approaches to annual plan development. But when we start talking about annual plan, there are 4 specific activities that need to be undertaken. First of them being goal setting. The organization needs to set its specific goals for a given period of time. It may plan on a monthly basis, it may plan on a quarterly basis, it may plan on an annual basis. But setting of goals or goal setting is very much a necessary step if you want to do any kind of a monitoring or control. And the next level is performance measurement. The moment the period of operations begins, that is the moment your business transactions start happening, you have to be able to measure each and every business function, each and every transaction that is happening. And then at the third level is diagnosis. Performance diagnosis or performance analysis using diagnostic tools. Here what we plan to do is that whatever is happening, we try to scan it, we try to screen it, and we try to understand if it is happening as per plan. Say for example, you have got a target to sell X number of units using 10 salespeople, and then you find that out of this 10, only 8 were actually available because of various reasons. And therefore, that targeted sales has not happened. You have a reason, you have a cause why the targeted sales did not happen. But if you have already employed 10 people, and yet if the sales happen only up to 80% of the targeted level, there seems to be some problem. It means that there is some problem somewhere. And that is where comes in the performance analysis or performance diagnostics. Having done the analysis, having found out the root cause of why something has gone wrong and why a target has not been achieved, we then want to take corrective action. We want to see that the same kind of an error does not get repeated over a period of time. So these are 4 steps to implement or employ the annual plan control, right? Now when we start talking about the approaches to annual plan control, there are again 3 or 4 ways of looking at it. One of them is, for example, a company may focus on sales analysis. Various kinds of analysis can be done on the sales. For example, you may want to measure the sales per call. That is, number of calls per week or per month are added up, and then how many actual sales happen. If you take the example of Eureka Forbes, for example, Eureka Forbes people have to make a certain number of calls every day. A certain number of them are fresh calls, some of them are repeat calls, right? And accordingly, on a weekly basis, they try to measure how many calls were made, and out of those calls, how much actually got sold, how many vacuum cleaners are actually sold is a measure, right? And then they may try to understand whether whatever planned has been achieved or not, and so on and so forth, right? So the sales analysis could, as I said, focus on the amount of sales being achieved by a group of salespeople or an individual salesperson per a given period of time, right? And then of course we are always considering our actual sales versus our planned sales, right? Another approach to annual plan control is through market share analysis. If a company keeps on analyzing its own sales and does not try to view the overall market, they may not be able to get the exact measure of their performance. For example, in a given market, if the opportunity is for 50 lakhs of sales and you are able to achieve a sale of 10 lakhs, because you have targeted it, you are very happy that, oh, I targeted 10 lakhs, I am able to achieve 10 lakhs, but you're forgetting that there is an opportunity of 50 lakhs. Here is where the competition could have actually visualized that opportunity and taken advantage of you. So market share analysis helps us understand what is the overall opportunity in the market, and given the opportunity, how much are we able to take advantage of that. If our market share goes up, it means that we are taking away the market from our competitors and we are doing better than our competitors. But our market share is going down, it means that we are not performing as well as what our competitors are performing, and therefore there is some lacuna, there is some problem somewhere, and we need to actually take a corrective action. One more approach to annual plan control is through the sales to expense ratios. Now when we start talking about sales to expense ratios, we are actually looking at how much are we spending on the sales that we are achieving. As I said earlier, we may be achieving sales But if you're spending too much on achievement of that sales, maybe it's not very intelligent. There are market dynamics. The markets have standards. And if we are able to achieve a certain sales within the performance levels of the market standards, we are doing a good job. But if we are doing too much of efforts and yet our sales are what we had expected them to be, then maybe there is some problem somewhere. Though we may think that we are doing a lot of good efforts, the efforts may not be actually that good, right? And therefore, it's necessary to see that we are not overspending on whatever business goals we are trying to achieve. Now, this can be analyzed through ratio analysis. The main ratios for this analysis are the marketing expense to sales ratios, which includes various kinds of ratios in terms of what all expenses you are making. For example, the number of salespeople employed and the salary paid to them, the amount of money that is spent by those salespeople in a day or over a week or behind each call. All kinds of analysis can be done, and this tells us whether we are spending the right amount of money for achievement of a certain amount of sales in a given period of time. Another way of looking at annual plan control is through financial analysis. And when we talk about financial analysis, we are actually going into the core of the money that is being spent, both in terms of the financial outlay and also in terms of expenses being incurred. For example, we may start looking at the amount of total assets that we have kind of created in order to achieve a certain amount of business, right? And therefore, we may talk about the return, rate of return on the net worth or the rate of return on assets, right? When we start talking about the rate of return on assets, we are actually looking at how many units were in stock for us in order to achieve a certain level of sales. By maintaining a very close control over the inventory, we are able to achieve a reasonably good sales, though we may be spending a very small amount in inventory, right? So it becomes very necessary to assess this return on assets. And then, of course, the other way of looking at financial analysis is through financial leverage. Leverage to me means how well are we able to take advantage of whatever we are deploying, whatever we are spending. Each and every rupee that we are spending or investing in a given business, how much are we able to draw from that rupee is, to me, what is financial leverage. By analyzing the financial leverage, we are able to see that we are using our money in the most intelligent manner, right? And then, of course, there is a whole new way of looking at annual plan control through customer satisfaction analysis. You have customers. They are buying from you. But why are they buying? Or why do they repeatedly keep on buying from you? You have to know the correct answers. If you know the correct answers, then you know how to convince the other buyers also to keep on buying from you again and again. And therefore, there are methodologies available to track the customer's level of satisfaction. It is not only the actual customers who buy your products. It is necessary for you to keep a track of the overall feeling about your brand or the product that you have presented into the market. And therefore, you may want to set up systems to monitor the attitudes of the customers who are actually buying, the customers who are not buying also. You need to be able to measure that. Why are they not buying? That will give us a lot of ways of trying to improve upon our marketing efforts so that those who did not buy this time ends up buying the next time. Of course, you have a dealer network. You have to try and understand the attitudes of the dealer network also. If you have a dealer network which is not happy with the kind of margin that they are earning, or if they are not happy with any of the aspects of your business processes, it may lead to falling sales over a period of time. And therefore, analysis of the dealer network's attitude and feeling towards your brand or products also becomes a very necessary thing. And so also understanding the feelings of the overall stakeholders for your product or your brand in the market also needs to be undertaken. It's not only the customers who buy, it's also the customers who don't buy, and all the people who might possibly influence the buying or not buying. You have to try and track the attitude and feelings of those people. And then, of course, having done a detailed analysis on these 4 major counts, what you now need to do is corrective action. Whenever you find any kind of deviation, and here we need to be able to appreciate once again that when we say deviation, it does not mean less. It may also mean more. If you are achieving too much, there is something wrong in your planning somewhere or in your deployment of resources somewhere. And therefore, any kind of a deviation from the set plan, we need to be able to analyze. And once having analyzed it, once having measured it, having understood the causes of it, we need to immediately take a corrective action. Corrective action can again be taken in so many different ways, but what's important for us here is to understand that when we undertake marketing control, the marketing control does not mean anything unless and until corrective actions are taken. Another major way of looking at the marketing control, as I mentioned earlier, is through profitability analysis or profitability control. When it comes to making sure that the company stays healthy, it is important for us to see to it that the company earns reasonable amount of profits. If reasonable amount of profits are being earned by the company can redeploy the earned profits into the business growth or business development and so on and so forth. And therefore, for each and every function, each and every activity that is being undertaken, we should continuously monitor the profit that we are generating out of doing a business activity. The main purpose of this control is to examine if the company is making profits or making losses for each and every activity that you're doing. If you've got 5 products, 3 of the products may be doing average, 1 of the product may be doing very well, 1 product may not be doing at all well. If you take an average of all these 5, you may be able to realize what kind of steps you now need to make. Various methodologies are available to do this kind of analysis, but what is important for us to here understand is that yes, we need to undertake a profitability analysis. For each and every product item that gets sold, what amount of profit was actually earned and how much that can add to the total profits of the company. Okay. Having done an annual plan control, having looked also at the profitability control, one more way of trying to control your marketing efforts is efficiency control. Efficiency talks about the difference between or a ratio of input and output. For a given input, how much output have you been able to achieve tells us the level of efficiency at which you are operating. And therefore, you need to do a variety of controls to see to it that the efficiency of the business activities and performance is maintained at the highest possible level. And when we are talking about marketing control, obviously the first and foremost comes the sales force efficiency. When we start talking sales force efficiency, we need to be able to appreciate simply how many calls a salesperson is able to make per day. As simple as that. Is he efficient enough to be able to make a certain number of minimum calls per day as what we have planned? Another way is to look at the sales call time. That is the amount of time that the salesperson is spending on each and every call that is making. Is he efficiently using the time that is available to him that you have targeted? Say for example, as per your plans, if a call should last 20 minutes, and if this 20 minutes has to be distributed in the first 2-3 minutes for approach or introduction and formalities, and then the 15 minutes focused on the specific presentation of the product and so on and so forth, and then of course 5 minutes to question answer and so on and so forth, you need to be able to ascertain that yes, the salesperson is actually using his time efficiently. And then of course you may also want to look at the revenue per sales call. Every call that he makes is costing us money. Whenever you have a cost happening, are you able to get something out of it? That is revenue being generated out of a sales call or not? And then of course, you may also want to do an analysis of the entertainment costs or various other costs, say for example, transportation cost per sales call, right? All these kinds of analysis of costs tells you whether the amount of sales that is being generated at the end of that period is efficiently being done in context of sales force efficiency or not. When we are talking about sales force efficiency, we may also want to talk about the advertising efficiency. In order to get a certain quantity of sales, you will need to advertise. You'll need to advertise in the public media, you'll need to advertise in the commercial media, and now you have the opportunity of advertising also on the social media. So you need to be able to understand whether your advertising is actually achieving any objective, any set targets or not, right? And that is where we try to look at measuring the advertising efficiency, and then of course there are techniques for them. For example, advertising cost per 1,000 targeted audience. In order to reach 1,000 members of the targeted audience, how much do we need to spend in a given media? Say for example, I say that through Times of India, I expect to reach 1 lakh targeted customers. And for that, I will spend say 50,000 rupees. Now, having spent 50,000 rupees, having put a certain advertisement, maybe a certain number of times in the Times of India, even a given period, we need to be able to measure whether we were actually able to touch base with that number of customers, potential customers or not, right? And then of course, there are other ways of looking at it. For example, the content of the advertisement and the sales effectiveness of the advertisement. You may do this through consumer opinions. You might undertake a consumer opinion poll and try to find out whether they like the way you're presenting your ideas, whether they like the content of the advertisement that you're doing, and then is this particular advertisement motivating them to actually go and buy the product or not. When you do this kind of consumer analysis, you're able to see whether your advertising is effective and efficient or not. And then of course, another way of looking at it is number of inquiries generated. Having put a given advertisement in a given media, immediately as an output or as an outcome of that particular advertisement, how many new inquiries were generated. On an average, if you keep on receiving 5 inquiries, and then on a certain day, you insert an advertisement in the newspaper, and immediately on that day and the following 4, 5, 6, 7 days, if the number of inquiries go to 10, it means that the advertisement has been able to increase the number of inquiries from 5 to 10. So you are getting 5 additional inquiries just because of having put this advertisement in the paper. So this is how advertising efficiency can also be measured and controlled. And then of course, you may talk about sales promotion. In today's competitive market, most of the sales happen through one or the other way of sales promotion. There are so many techniques of sales promotion we already studied. What we now need to do, talk about is managing the efficiency of the sales promotions, right? And that you can achieve through, for example, of the total amount of sales that you are achieving in a given time frame, how much of that sales comes out of some or the other kind of a deal offered, you know, buy one get one free, or you know, a coupon that you might have added, you know, a repeat purchase discount or something like that. So how many sales are actually, how many rupees worth of sales actually being derived out of this kind of offers that you're making in the market, right? That will tell you whether your product can sell independently without any offer, without any deal being offered to the customer, right? So if you are selling, say, 1,000 rupees worth of products, and if you realize that 600 out of that 1,000 rupees comes from some or the other kind of an offer, it means that only 400 rupees worth of sales happen independent of any sales promotions, right? And then of course, you may also want to look at the display cost per 1,000 rupees of sale. For every sale that you are making, how much are you spending on displaying your product if you're talking in a store format or something like that? And then of course, you might be giving coupons. You may also want to understand the percentage of coupons that are redeemed for every sale. Say for example, a brand offers a coupon at the time of the sale of 1 unit. That okay, if you come next time and buy the same product within 3 months, we'll give you 15% discount. That is a discount coupon which is going to be redeemed within 3 months on that particular product item. So we need to be able to analyze that, okay, we have got a 6-month sales promotion of coupons, how many coupons actually get redeemed? That needs to be analyzed. And of course, finally, you may also want to look at distribution efficiency. You are involved in logistics of distribution. You want to get the product at the right place at the right time at the right cost. Whether you are able to do that or not, again, becomes a very, very important aspect of control. Management needs to search for distribution economies. Several tools are available for analyzing this. For example, are you able to achieve a certain amount of distribution, that is geographic reach, maintaining a certain level of inventory or not? If in order to reach a certain geography, you have to increase your inventory, it may not be beneficial to the organization as a whole. It may not be profitable for the business as a whole. And then of course, where are your warehouses? How far are they from your supply source? Or how far are they from your actual market? Because all of this lead to costs of transportation. So whenever you're doing an analysis of distribution, you're looking at the geographic locations of your market, your warehouses, your production units, and so on and so forth. And for each and every transport action that is undertaken, in order to reach the ultimate customer, you have to measure the cost incurred on each one of them. And then of course, there are various modes of transport. You may use road transport, you may use rail transport, you may use air transport, or you may use water transport. We all know generally that water transportation is the most economical of all. But in India, road transport is the most popular of all. Railways, for example, in India are not that effective and efficient in transportation of goods, especially consumer goods. And therefore, you have to have a very strategic approach in defining your modes of transport also. Having a certain number of modes of transport, and then you may have intermodal transportation also, part of the product moving by train and then trucks picking them up at the railway godowns and then distributing it further in the district and so on and so forth. You might be able to bring in the best possible efficiencies by doing intermodal transportation also. But all these things need to be measured, and where deviations are observed, they need to be corrected. And of course, finally, we also have to talk about strategic control. Strategic control deals with the overall strategy and the approach undertaken at the time of setting up the marketing plan. During the time period, companies need some necessary review about their marketing goals and effectiveness. Many companies want to do it as an ongoing activity, and some companies do it at periodical intervals. Right? What is important for us is that each company reassesses its strategic approach in the market and tries to make corrective actions wherever necessary. Largely, there are two tools available for strategic control, and one of them being market effectiveness or marketing effectiveness rating review. For everything that you're doing, you have set a standard that, okay, if I do this, I should be able to achieve this. At the end of a period, you want to find out whether the effectiveness as planned in the marketing activities and functions has been actually achieved or not. And that's what's called marketing effectiveness rating review. And then of course, there is this other largely practiced and largely understood marketing audit. For everything that you do, you need to audit. And what does audit mean? Audit means that, okay, you first of all define a process and the way you are going to do it, and then see to it that every time you do it, you follow the same steps and the entire process is undertaken as planned. You have to undertake the entire process as per your plan. This is what ultimately leads to the largely well-known ISO certification. If you set a methodology of doing things and then always keep on doing those things in the same way, our audit will come out to be the most effective and efficient. It's like your financial or accounting audit. You have methods of, say for example, inventory management, you have LIFO and FIFO. Now once you decided that we will use LIFO, last in first out method of inventory control, every time that you use the inventory, you have to follow the LIFO method. If there is any deviation, then immediately the auditors will raise a point that, okay, here is where there is some error in the way in which you used your inventory. In the same way, in your marketing efforts also, everything that you do, have a plan for it, and once having had a plan for it, try to see that you always keep on doing it as per your plans or as you have planned. So this leads to what we call as strategic control. So in all, we have got these 4 ways of looking at controlling the marketing effort. As I said, first of them being annual plan control, and then we have profitability control, and we have efficiency control, and finally strategic control. This completes my day's talk on controlling marketing efforts. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the class and watching. I have learned a lot. Did you? Have a good day from the learner.